The evidence of a Canadian tragedy lies strewn on the ground near the capital of Iran. The poignancy of small, everyday items. The blunt reality of rows of body bags. 176 are needed, including one for each of 63 Canadians. No one survived.
All people who won't be coming home to their parents, their friends, their colleagues, or their family.
The lives of those parents, friends, colleagues, and families now altered irreparably.
I lived because of her. I was married to her for 10 years, very short 10 years.
The crash happened just hours after Iran sent missiles into Iraq. Now, we're far from knowing what brought that plane down, but what's clear, Canadian grief will tonight be mirrored in Iran, because 138 of those on board were traveling from that country to ours. This is a special edition of The National. Take a moment to look at this. These are just some of the passengers on board Ukraine Airlines Flight 752. Canadians, people studying here, visiting here, all being mourned in communities large and small across this country.
Their stories are at the heart of our coverage. You're going to hear about some of them tonight, and certainly more in the days ahead.
No single incident has taken so many Canadian lives since the Air India disaster in 1985. The enormity of what's happened raises so many questions. And that all starts with the plane and its safety record. It got a maintenance check 2 days ago. So what caused the crash? Iran says it is leading the investigation. But can Canada trust Iran now? Remember, these countries have no formal diplomatic relations.
Rosemary has the story from Ottawa, where the government will be severely tested in the days ahead. And Ian is in Edmonton tonight, a city that was home for more than 24 of the passengers. But we begin our coverage tonight at the site of the disaster, a civilian tragedy. And with the world having been so fixated on Iran's missile strike against the United States, it was a tragedy virtually no one expected. Chris Brown now with what we know about the crash.
In a day filled with heartbreaking images, the sight of 176 body bags laid in rows in a farmer's field was among the most devastating. Entire families were wiped out, including 25 children. Iranian state TV played a video purportedly showing part of the Boeing 737-800 on fire just before impact. It went down 13 kilometers from the end of the runway near Tehran's airport after being airborne for just 2 minutes. Stunned Ukrainian Airlines officials struggled to explain it. It was one of our best planes with an excellent, trustworthy crew, said the company's president. The plane was practically brand new. This is the same aircraft taking off in Munich shortly after it went into service just 3 years ago. Flight tracking information shows the aircraft made it to just under 8,000 feet when it suddenly dropped off the radar. There was no mayday call from the pilot, and the plane had just passed an inspection 2 days earlier. Taking into account the pilot's experience, it's hard to believe this was a mistake by the crew, he said. With Iran firing off missiles at U.S. bases the same night as the passenger jet went down, one terrible but obvious line of inquiry is whether it was accidentally shot down, which Iran's military adamantly denies. Iranian aviation experts blame the crash on a technical problem with the plane, which Ukraine initially appeared to agree with before declining to offer a cause. When asked today about a possible missile strike on the plane, Canada's Prime Minister was equally cautious.
Can you say categorically that the plane was not shot down?
I cannot. It is too early to speculate.
Finding the answers is sure to be complicated by politics. Iran's government claims it has the aircraft's black boxes, but says it will not turn them over to Boeing or U.S. authorities. Ukraine's prime minister said all Ukrainian flights over Iranian airspace would be suspended until there are answers. Ukraine is sending a government plane to bring some of the bodies home. Chris Brown, CBC News, Dubai.
Across Canada tonight, there are friends and family members struggling to absorb the full scale of the loss. The passengers who will never come home. Among them, respected professionals, couples, including this one who went to Tehran to get married. So many of the victims, students and academics, young and bright, their lives and dreams just getting started. And there were entire families with children bound to each other, beloved by their communities, all gone now. Hamad Esmailian stayed behind in Toronto. While his wife and daughter were in Tehran, they were on that plane. He spoke with Ioana Rumiliotis, driven by a desire for his family's story to be told.
He is living a nightmare. Hamad Esmailian was supposed to pick up his wife and child here. Instead, he is going to Iran to bury them.
You know, first thing that comes to your mind is that you don't believe that. I still don't believe that it happened. I have to go back and, you know, share the grief, I think.
Esmailian's wife, Parissa Iqbalian, and their 9-year-old daughter, Rira, had gone to Iran to celebrate a family engagement.
But what were they thinking about at the very last moment? I can't answer that question. So, yeah, I don't know. I will miss them forever. I think that there's a hole in my heart now.
The couple met in university in Iran and came to Canada in 2010 when their daughter was 6 months old. They opened a dental practice and happily settled into life in Canada. Rira was their only child.
She was amazing. She was very talented in the sport. She could speak three languages, and she was very proud of that. I had to force her to play piano every day. Rira, you have to play 30 minutes. No, Dad, it's 25 minutes. Things like that, you know, it's very hard to recall all those memories, you know.
After a sleepless night at home, he called his daughter's school this morning.
So I usually call them, and when she's absent, usually she's not. And I told them that, okay, Rira will be absent forever. So that was a hard moment for me.
His grief is unthinkable. His grace, remarkable.
I said, she was an amazing girl, and I have to talk about her. And my wife too, you know, we had a very, very good life. I think it was not right. I think it was not fair what happened.
It is all so wrong, so agonizing. And what a harrowing journey ahead. Ioana Rumiliotis, CBC News, Toronto.
He's far from alone on that journey. The 138 people bound for Canada had connections in at least 5 provinces, including British Columbia. Tina Lovegreen spent the day speaking with families there about their loss.
It was not this Christmas, but 2 previous Christmases.
Kimia Purshabon Oshubi spoke to her parents 4 hours before their flight.
So then we just laughed a bit. We talked about, okay, what she would do on the flight, what she would do after, and then that was last.
Sounds like you guys were really close.
We were.
Yeah.
Both of her parents were family doctors in Iran. They moved to BC in 2013 to give their daughter a brighter future.
And their legacy was for me to be happy and be successful and to improve.
As families grieve, others are haunted by the misfortune of it all. This travel agency says it booked 6 of the passengers on that flight, including 26-year-old international student Delaram Dadeshnejad. She snagged a last-minute booking.
She told us, thank you so much to help me to visit my family, and I will bring you guys something from Iran as a gift. But she was on that flight.
Nobody can believe it.
Her friends were supposed to pick her up from the airport today.
She was very funny, she was very active, she was very energetic. You know, she's the person who wanted to do things, go out, she's never tired, you know.
Among the other BC victims, a family of 3, a mother and daughter, and a couple in their 30s.
Everyone just loved them. And
Farzad Taheri was related to Daniel and Faye Socket. She was a dental hygienist, he a structural engineer.
Such a great loss, not for our family, for everyone in the community, everyone in the world, I would say, because they just had such amazing personalities and so
Now the families have to figure out when they can bury the bodies, an important part of Iranian culture.
we're all from Earth and we go back to Earth. So we think it's important that when the soul has left the body also follows it.
She's trying to arrange to bring her parents' remains to Canada because she says that's where they felt most at home. Tina Levgreen, CBC News, North Vancouver.
Now, beyond the grief and loss, those Canadian families are also preoccupied by an impossible question, the same one being asked in many other countries. Why did that plane crash? We still don't know, but theories are forming. Here's Katie Nicholson with some expert insights on the investigation.
We look for the features that are...
Giancarlo Fiorella is with Bellingcat, a global investigative group trying to get to the bottom of tragedies like this one.
I think there's a tendency in these sort of situations to want answers. Like it's an innate sort of human drive that we have. What happened? How did it happen?
The two prevailing theories, based largely on this still unverified video, are mechanical failure or the plane was brought down by a missile or some other explosive device. The latter gaining traction online because some believe they saw shrapnel holes in this picture.
What we were able to do was find higher resolution images of the same piece of wreckage from other sources.
Turns out most of those holes were just rocks that had come to rest on the sheets of torn metal. In Ottawa, the transportation minister says it was sudden.
Climbing to altitude, very, very standard departure. However, we lost contact with it, suggesting that something very unusual happened.
Iran's Civil Aviation Authority released its preliminary report on the plane's movements, concluding after a mechanical difficulty, it turned right and appeared to be trying to return to the airport. This aviation expert believes the plane fell too quickly for that to make sense.
And typically with an engine failure, you don't see that kind of structural falling apart, if you will. You tend to see a more gradual failure of systems, and in this case, what we've seen is the information just stopped appearing.
Others say don't rule mechanical failure out. One of the many things investigators will be looking at, the 737's turbines belong to the same family as the ones that had metal fatigue problems, snapping off mid-air, killing a Southwest Air passenger.
Were the engines that were on that aircraft required to have the airworthiness directives that had been issued from the Southwest? Were those done? Were they done properly?
The truth may rest in the plane's black boxes, recovered today by investigators. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
Canada is eager to be part of that investigation, but that will be complicated. Let's go to Rosemary now with the questions facing the government today.
Yes, so many questions, Andrew. It was a somber atmosphere in the National Press Theatres this afternoon as the Prime Minister, flanked by key cabinet ministers, expressed his condolences to the victims and, of course, their loved ones.
A Ukrainian Airlines plane just landed in Toronto from Kiev. According to the airline, there were 138 passengers who weren't on that flight because they died in the crash on the earlier leg of their travel.
Those victims are being honored on Parliament Hill with the flag on the Peace Tower lowered to half-mast today. We are here as well in the halls of power of West Block, but in the wake of this tragedy, the government may find that its power is somewhat limited. Remember, Canada doesn't have any diplomatic relations with Iran, as Ashley Burke tells us about the effect that's having and the questions about Canada's response.
This is where Canada is desperate to go to get closure for families who lost loved ones. But the path there isn't straightforward.
Canadians have questions, and they deserve answers.
Families are consumed with how to get their loved ones' remains home. But with no ambassador to Iran, that could be tough.
It's so challenging because normally we would be able to work through our embassy if we had one in Tehran, and the ambassador on the spot would in fact make all these arrangements working closely with the Iranian government.
Canada cut ties with Iran in 2012. The Liberals tried but haven't been able to reestablish diplomatic relations. So without an embassy, Canada will have to go through other countries.
Italy is our protecting power in Iran. We're also reaching out directly to the government of Iran, and Australia and France have also offered their support for us in matters of logistics.
I am confident that we are going to be able to be part of the investigation.
Ukraine is also investigating. Canada hopes that's a way in. It's offered technical help and expertise, but all it can do is ask, since the crash didn't happen in Canada or involve a Canadian plane.
In order for the families to have confidence in the investigation, Canadians have to be involved. If they're not, then there will always be questions that aren't answered. Was the evidence gathered properly? Did they protect the evidence properly? Did they analyze it properly? Did they come to conclusions based on the evidence, or did they come to conclusions based on some political influence?
Ashley's here with me now. So what is Canada's role? What are they doing right now to be part of this investigation?
Well, the Transportation Safety Board has assigned a point person to this file, someone who under international aviation agreements is going to be getting updates. But that information is going to be released from Iran, and that's because it's the lead on this investigation.
Okay. Thanks for this, Ashley. Appreciate it very much. Complicating all of this, of course, the conflict between the U.S. and Iran. And that's left Canada caught in the middle, too. Justin Trudeau was asked repeatedly today about Donald Trump's actions. And as David Cochrane tells us, Trudeau stuck to the same answer.
A somber Prime Minister's first appearance of the new year, coming on a day of great sorrow.
To the families grieving, know that the Government of Canada and all Canadians are grieving with you.
This tragedy intersects with the political and diplomatic fallout of a fraught week in the Middle East. Those dead Canadians are inside the country that fired rockets at the Iraq military base housing Canadian soldiers.
I can confirm that there were Canadians at the Canadian base in Erbil when the rockets landed, but they are all safe.
Those rockets, a response to Donald Trump's order of a drone strike to kill a top Iranian general and known sponsor of terrorism. Trump claims it was necessary to stop an imminent attack, but has offered no proof. Do you trust Donald Trump's assertion that the drone strike was necessary to stop an imminent attack?
The Americans made a decision based on their threat assessment.
Trudeau took that line and didn't budge.
It was a threat assessment that the U.S. made. It was a threat assessment that the U.S. Was tasked with making and made.
Whatever went into that assessment, Trump's actions put Canadian troops under fire and at risk of more. It also threatens the strategic objectives of the Canada-led NATO mission to defeat ISIS.
We continue to press in all our conversations, including with the President, for a de-escalation of tensions in the region.
Until that happens, Canada has halted its operations in the fight against ISIS. It's relocated some troops to Kuwait and suspended its training missions designed to help stabilize Iraq. David Cochrane, CBC News, Ottawa.
One more note now about diplomacy, or efforts at diplomacy here. There is a conversation happening late tonight because of the time zone difference between Canada and Iran. Canada's Minister of Foreign Affairs, François-Philippe Champagne, is going to speak directly to the Iranian Foreign Minister. Champagne's office says that we will have an update on that conversation in the morning. Now, back to Toronto.
And we do have much more special coverage ahead tonight, including a closer look at the volatile backdrop to the crash and why it makes things so much more complicated.
Plus, what you need to know about that plane and the 2 minutes it spent in the air.
First, though, more on the people at the heart of this tragedy.
A photo album, a pair of jeans, a little girl's shoe scattered amidst the wreckage of that plane, pieces of people's lives as they were lived. Next, we'll take you to Edmonton, the city as many as 30 people on that plane called home. But as we go to break, the names and faces of some of the dozens of people being mourned across Canada tonight. Another look at the victims of Ukraine International Airlines Flight 752. 63 Canadian citizens, 138 people in total who were traveling to this country, many making their lives here, lives that ended in an instant in Iran. So these victims leave voids in towns and cities coast to coast, but perhaps the hardest hit is Edmonton, where Ian is tonight.
And Adrian, this is a city heavy with grief. It's believed at least 30 victims were from Edmonton alone, and that's a number that could grow as we learn of new names. We are here tonight outside the Alberta legislature, where people have been braving the bitter cold to share their sorrow and their strength, and here and now at least face the tragedy together. As Aaron Collins shows us, the shockwaves from the crash have rippled through the city.
The news hit Edmonton's tight-knit Iranian community hard. Nearly everyone here connected to someone who died in the crash.
Everyone sharing their sadness, at the same time their stories with these people who lost their life.
Many of those stories are connected to the university here. Academics, students, entire families woven into the fabric of the campus. Pedram Musavi and Moajgan Daneshman taught engineering at the U of A. The professors and their 2 daughters died in the crash.
Everyone was in tears. All the students were in tears, all the faculty members, everyone came, and they were such sweet people, they were such kind people.
A third of the Edmontonians who died were connected to the university. Among the victims, 2 grad students married on New Year's Day, traveling back to Edmonton when the plane went down. Losses nearly impossible to comprehend here.
We're a close-knit community, and we grieve when everyone is touched by such terrible loss.
Of course, the death of so many who called this city home impacts more than just their families, their friends.
I was having breakfast with my dad, right? It just makes you grateful. But, you know, it hits you hard too. You can imagine how families will be affected by this.
Edmonton's high-level bridge lit up tonight, a reminder of this city's many bright lights who've had their lives cut short. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Edmonton.
So as you saw there, many victims had links to the city of Edmonton, to the University of Alberta, and that is just one institution among many right across this country with students and researchers who will never come back. Ellen Morrow has that story.
Today's grief all-consuming at so many of Canada's universities. Here at Western, a memorial to promising students, their futures robbed.
It's very hard.
Masood Zachary lost his friend Hadis Hayat Davoudi, a PhD student.
We all hoping that she lost the plane. And when we saw the official name, the official list of names, all hopes blew.
Students from more than 10 Canadian universities died in the crash. Driven by troubled politics with the U.S. and Canada's academic reputation, this country is a popular destination for Iranian students. In Winnipeg, a vigil at the University of Manitoba, a community in mourning. Murtaza Tabakoli says his best friend was on the flight. They were joking about nerves before it took off.
I told him, once you're on board, everything will be over. I was referring to worries, but I didn't really know that his life was about to be over.
This University of Windsor student was supposed to be on board.
I'm sad. Of course, I'm happy that I'm alive, but then at the same time, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it.
Friends of Windsor PhD student Zara Nagibi are devastated.
She was the loveliest person, the politest person one can ever see.
A loss felt nationwide with so much potential snuffed out. Ellen Morrow, CBC News, London, Ontario.
And ahead tonight, we will take you through Flight 752 moment by moment and look at the clues left behind.
And what about those Iranian missile strikes launched mere hours before the crash? The change in tone from Washington is next. But first, more of the passengers of Flight 752. The heartache and horror of the Ukrainian Airlines crash is set against a very complicated, high-stakes backdrop.
A dangerous tit-for-tat between the U.S. and Iran continues to destabilize after Iran's missile strikes on a U.S. military base yesterday. So the attack was retaliation for the U.S. strike, which killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. It was a clear message, but there were no casualties.
Now, that fact may be what's led to a moment of relative calm today. And as Susan Ormiston reports, a change in tone from the U.S. president.
The staging, the tone, the message, carefully choreographed to project the image of a prudent president.
Iran appears to be standing down, which is a good thing for all parties concerned and a very good thing for the world.
Last night's missiles didn't kill any Americans. Damage to 2 Iraqi bases, moderate, handing President Trump a way out of a military strike back.
Our missiles are big, powerful, accurate, lethal, and fast. The fact that we have this great military and equipment, however, does not mean we have to use it.
Marked contrast to his warnings yesterday.
If Iran does anything that they shouldn't be doing, they're going to be suffering the consequences.
Those consequences now punishing new economic sanctions and demands that it abandon its nuclear ambitions. Neither will sit well with Tehran, but part of Trump's drive for a new nuclear deal.
The president wants to be able to show that he did what others could not. So if he can get the Iranians to the table in time before the elections, he has a lot to benefit from it.
For now, the U.S. is taking a strategic step back from war, but there are still perils.
Iran can use its proxies to engage in violence and terrorist attacks against American installations in the region. That threat has not gone away.
Tonight, the U.S. military is still on high alert. 2 rockets hit the fortified Green Zone in Baghdad. That is the kind of tit-for-tat provocation which could escalate, forcing the U.S. to reconsider a strike back. Tomorrow, the House votes on a measure to limit the president's military actions in Iran. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Washington.
So the U.S. has outlined its next move. Iran's is a little bit harder to decipher, but amid the fiery rhetoric, there are some signals of de-escalation. Margaret Evans has more from Beirut.
The deep rumble of Iranian anger on display in the holy city of Qom. The country's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, boasting of Iran's sting. We delivered them a slap last night, he said, referring to the strikes against targets housing U.S. troops in Iraq. But real vengeance for Qasem Soleimani's death, he said, would come with the exit from the region of America's seditious presence. Not the picture of a country standing down. But for Iran, this was a day just as much about delivering a message to its domestic audience. This is Kurdish territory in northern Iraq this morning. One of the Iranian missiles landing overnight. We heard a loud sound at 2 a.m., says this woman. We didn't know there's an American base nearby. Iran warned Iraq it was about to launch the strikes. Increasing speculation, Tehran was wary of inflicting too much damage and drawing the United States one more step up the tit-for-tat ladder. But the Middle East can be like a minefield, the potential for a misstep all around. In southern Lebanon, for example, Hezbollah, both a militia and a powerful political party, is also mourning Qasem Soleimani's death, and some at least might not feel Iran's retaliation was enough.
We had enough war in the Middle East.
Still, some analysts believe the events of the last 24 hours have left room for dialogue.
We have to take this opportunity to build on it, to bring some kind of negotiation back to the table.
That, though, feels like a long way off, in part because despite all the calls for de-escalation, real diplomacy in this region has been lacking for a very long time. Margaret Evans, CBC News, Beirut.
And we have much more special coverage ahead tonight on The National.
They were in the air for just minutes. Up next, we'll examine the final moments of Flight 752 with a veteran air crash investigator. We don't know what caused the crash of Flight 752, but we are getting a picture of its final moments. It crashed last night, shortly after taking off from Tehran. 63 Canadians were among the 176 passengers and crew who lost their lives.
Ukrainian International Airlines Flight 752 was late. Scheduled to depart at 5:15 a.m. en route to Kiev, some 2,300 kilometers away, the sleepy passengers, who'd likely rushed to the Imam Khomeini airport to be on time, instead had to wait until 6:12 a.m. to take off. Almost every seat was full. 2 people hadn't shown up for the flight. Those who did were mostly young. The littlest passenger, a 1-year-old girl, Kurdi Milani of Ajax. What a group it must have been. There aren't many Iranians in Ukraine or Ukrainians in Iran. This flight was about connecting to points beyond. Most people wrapping up holidays, and incredibly, 138 of them expecting to then catch a connecting flight from Kiev to Toronto. A city home to so many Iranians, it's sometimes lovingly referred to as Tehranto. Others planned long travel days connecting on to flights throughout Canada. Were they bored while they waited in those pre-dawn hours? Maybe McMaster students Iman Agbalia and Mehdi Ishagian were a bit. They took this picture near the gate just before getting on the plane. Were they scrolling through their phones? Hassan Shadku's wife Shada certainly was. She posted this picture and spoke with him from the plane, telling him she was worried about war in the region. She had no idea what was coming. But war was likely on a lot of minds.
On and on they came, one missile after another.
Only 4 hours earlier, Iranian missiles were hitting 2 bases in Iraq, housing U.S. and coalition forces.
The United States waged an economic war against Iran. The United States has to come to its senses.
Nerves in the region were raw. The toll of missile strikes, not yet known. The FAA had just started to issue warnings about the airspace around Iran and Iraq. Some airlines had already heeded it. But Tehran's airport was still in operation. This is what the skies looked like as Flight 752 was taking off. A few planes over Iran, but not many. The flight tracker shows while the official flight time was recorded as just under 4 minutes, almost half of that was spent taxiing. It only spent 2 minutes airborne. It reached 2,400 meters, 8,000 feet, no indication of the flight path becoming less steep, as you might see with an engine failure. A failure fire was an early theory. We're a long way from knowing the truth. And then, nothing. No more coordinates broadcast. The few clues lying in the grainy footage of the last moments of the flight: a flash, a fire, and a fall. The pilot, it seems, could not or did not communicate with air traffic controllers in the last moments. One witness maintains the pilot appeared to steer the plane towards a soccer field instead of a residential area. By 6:16 a.m. it was done, a fiery, scattered tangle in a debris field several kilometers wide. These aerial pictures from a state-run news agency just after sunrise, about an hour after the crash. By 12:30 Tehran time, just after 4 a.m. Eastern, the passenger manifest was released, and a chill ran through this country. A disaster so far away, cutting so close. All those Canadians, all those people with connections to this country, including the 28-year-old member of the Ukrainian flight crew. I believe I can touch the sky, her Instagram bio reads. Her time in Toronto chronicled with joy just weeks ago. Another trip in the works.
So there are so many questions about what brought that plane down. Larry Vance spent his career investigating plane crashes for the Transportation Safety Board. He's in Ottawa tonight. Thank you, sir, for joining us. We have seen some pretty shocking pictures of the debris field today, and the internet, as you know, is rife with speculation. But what would you, as an investigator, be looking for in that field?
First of all, I would make sure that the wreckage wasn't disturbed until the investigators got there to look at it. But in that field, I would be looking for signatures right away of some kind of event that happened aboard the airplane that would cause a catastrophic failure. I would be looking for signatures of potential bomb blasts from inside the airplane and potential for missile strikes from outside the airplane. That would be a starting point for me. Of course, there's a lot of investigation to be done from a mechanical point of view, but that's where I would start.
And so when you look at that video of the last moments, we've all seen that today. And as a layperson, I look at it and I see, you know, a flash, a fire, and then you see it falling. But when you look at it through your eyes, what do you see?
I see the same thing, Adrienne. I think that what has to happen here is that video and probably other videos that would be available in this day and age have to be looked at in a laboratory environment where they have specialized equipment that they can look at it and enhance it and try and get the vertical component out of it, try and get altitudes, try and get the flight profile out of it. That, along with radar data and so on, will give you a flight track for what happened after the radios went dead. That's where you have to get to. You can't do it like you and I would just by looking at it on a screen on our computer.
Okay, just very briefly, one last question. Given the geopolitical tensions at play here, how confident are you as an investigator we will get to the truth of what happened?
They're not off to a good start. I have to say that a regular investigation is hard enough to manage. You have to get everybody pulling on the same rope. The environment that they're in over there is one where it doesn't leave me with a lot of confidence that the investigation will be able to be supported in the long run, no matter what they come up with.
All right, thanks very much. Former Transportation Safety Board investigator Larry Vance joining us from Ottawa tonight.
Now, also being mourned tonight, the crew members who were on Flight 752. At the airport in Kiev, a growing pile of flowers, 9 candles, and 9 portraits to remember each of the crew members who died.
Up next, we'll look at the plane they were on, what we know about the Boeing 737-800. First, more of the victims being mourned here in Canada.
Welcome back to a special edition of the National Flight 752, a Canadian tragedy. The Ukrainian airliner that mysteriously crashed in Iran yesterday has a strong track record. In fact, it's flown all around the world, including right here in Canada. Now, we still don't know what happened, but our Thomas Daigle looked for clues with a forensic look at the plane.
Takeoff in the Boeing 737-800 is normally seamless, except flight PS-752 barely made it this far, as the jet disappeared off radar, then went down, leaving aviation experts stunned.
This doesn't look even remotely like anything we've seen in the past, especially since this aircraft has been in service for, well, a very long time, many millions of hours.
Boeing's 737 series is among the most popular airliners in the world, with the 800 edition flown in Canada by WestJet, Sunwing, and others. In service before the now grounded 737 MAX, it does not use the troubled MCAS software, blamed for 2 deadly crashes in the past 2 years that have left the aerospace giant reeling.
It has a very, very good safety record, so this is unusual for a 737-800.
Ukraine International Airlines says this very plane, the one that crashed, was delivered by Boeing in 2016 and inspected just 2 days ago. The airline even displayed a certificate it received last year after an international safety audit.
The aircraft was climbing, so I don't see any evidence that there was an engine failure.
The 737-800 has been involved in crashes before. 10 years ago, an Ethiopian flight slammed into the Mediterranean shortly after takeoff, killing 90 people. And last year, this plane in Florida skidded off the runway into a river. U.S. regulators recently ordered inspections on older 737-800 models after cracks were found between the wing and the body of the plane. But that still doesn't explain the crash in Iran.
There should be no reason why the aeroplane fell out of the sky as it did.
The ill-fated flight took off an hour behind schedule, though it's unclear why. Just part of the mystery of the crash that cost 176 lives and raised new questions about Boeing's planes. Thomas Dagg, CBC News, Toronto.
Flight 752 is a tragedy being felt in communities right across this country.
So when we come back, we'll take you to many of the vigils being held tonight to mourn the many Canadian passengers on board.
Throughout the hour, we have been bringing you the faces, the stories of the victims of Flight 752. At least 63 Canadians on board, and the biggest loss of Canadian life in a single tragedy in more than 3 decades.
Tonight, people across this country gathered at vigils, landmarks marked the loss, some with dimmed lights, others bright, like the lives that were lost.
I didn't really know that his life was about to be over.
She was among the kindest people that somebody can meet in his life.
This is so sad. This is very sad.
We now ask that you join together with the Winnipeg Jets and your Toronto Maple Leafs in a moment of silence.
It is cold here in Edmonton, folks, outside the legislature, but that didn't stop. We saw some of the pictures. People from coming out here in the supper hour, some were solemn and silent, some were sobbing, and as we saw throughout this hour, the grief of that crash has hit so many people so hard here in Canada.
And of course, it's resonated here in the nation's capital because the government, the Prime Minister, has been dealing with this, throughout the night and day, and still promising to try and get some answers for all those people and their families.
Well, and I'll just say it can certainly be painstaking, often painful work to collect the stories of people who have died in a tragedy such as this, but it is also a way to breathe life into those stories. I certainly feel like I've learned a lot.
Well, and it's going to be a while, right? There's so many people. There are so many people just learning what's happening, and I think everyone sort of needs to brace themselves. That is a national for January the 8th. We will leave you tonight with one final look at some of the lives lost.